How do we make progress on racial equity and inclusion at the systems level?
It is important, and I try to do this with my team as best as I can, is that the people that we even hire, who are the decision makers, that I want a diverse group of people to actually make decisions, be in the community, and hear what the community has to say and be involved in the decision making. I think that's one of the top things that we can do, and it has to be a diverse group. I think it's important to hear what Detroiters have to say. I think our community engagement has to be good in that space. I think people probably will have certain opinions about how we do now, but it's about bringing in voices, not only with the decision making, but also at the ground level and taking in actual Detroiters and what they say about their community in which they live. I think is probably the most important.
I think there's always this interest in wanting to move forward and look beyond, but so much of what has happened in our past still impacts us today. And so we have to look very deeply at a lot of our systems that we still have in place. I say quite often in Detroit, it feels like we are penalizing people for being poor. The impact that things have, if we're not talking about water affordability, if we are not thinking about the fact that we still have thousands of tax foreclosures, the challenge with transportation, all of these larger systems are really impacting racial equity and this ability for everyone to kind of move forward and participate. And so it's not just saying that we have provided a program and that we're trying to extend some opportunities, but if we are not changing the larger systems that even impact a person's ability to take advantage of an opportunity, then we're really not going to address the issue. And I feel like in this moment, I don't want us to get so excited because, we talk about racial equity, it's become almost a buzz, kind of phrase. But if we are not really challenging ourselves to say, how are we addressing it in our organizations? How are we looking at it in the way that it impacts in our work? Then we can, we're gonna bypass this moment and nothing will change.
Race has not been a coincidental factor in how their cities or counties are today, that indeed race has played a huge role and has been utilized in a way that has impacted the design and the opportunities that exist. And just confronting that and admitting that is a huge step forward for most of the places where we're working now. And it's been educational, particularly for those who were not here when that road was driven through that minority community. And by the way, every city we work in has that tale, right? Mm-hmm. But you gotta know it. You got to admit and acknowledge that this was not coincidental, that indeed this was purposeful, right? And so now it's here, we gotta do something about it. Right? But you have to first be willing to admit that race has always been a factor, oftentimes used in a very, very bad way. And that's what you're looking at now. And we've got it, it's ours now. What are we going to do with it? And I'm seeing more and more places that are grappling with that, and it is both healing to be to be honest about it, but it's also motivating, and it's also, frankly, believe it or not, bringing people together because they're acknowledging things that, frankly, the communities of color have been talking about and acknowledging for a long time. And so you got to feel like you're on the same team if you're going to deal with race. And being on the same team means, first and foremost, be honest about what has happened. And we're seeing that around the country right now.